to the right person. They are. Oh God! Whoa! That's starting to stream. Oh shit! Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the Flickering Torch. Oh no!
This is our totally well-planned episode.
You know
We
what?
are so good at this, guys. We do this every week.
Oh, for fuck.
Hey, I'm here on time. It's all the rest of you.
Let's pretend that didn't happen.
I'll go back to the starting soon screen and then come back in, and then it'll be fine. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first intro of this stream here on the Flickering Torch. Tonight we're playing our weekly game of Blades in the Dark Red Herrings. Hosted by our wonderful GM, who's now changed sides. This is already a disaster. We're missing a man. Jordan, please host. Thanks. Bye.
Yes, thank you very much, Ben. Yes, as I say, unfortunately we are missing Sean tonight. The real world has got in the way, but that is fine. We are going to plough on. So we're going to start tonight with James. James, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm James. Hi.
Now, who are you playing in our game?
I'm playing Giscard, the resident leech of the group, a technician and saboteur.
Very nice. We'll go next to Addison. Tell us a bit about you and your character.
Hi, I'm Addison. And, I play Olin Welker, the cutter and muscle of the group, who tries his best to set our team up for success, spoiled by all the apparently smarter people.
I love that you play the character the one that solves problems through violence, and you are always the one that's trying to be the most subtle. And everyone else just gets in the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting in the way of getting subtle, our final hat, and again, I will say this again, my new favourite intro, Ben, stick your hat on and tell us who you are.
Hello, I'm playing Aldrich Booker. He's the leader of this merry band of scoundrels, and frankly, he loves a bit of notoriety. So when, someone decides to fire off a flare, it should really be our gag logo that gets fired off. Heat be damned.
Yes, heat be damned indeed. And speaking of heat be damned, we'll pick up this particular session of Red Herrings a few days after how we concluded our last score, which was obviously, as we all remember, the infamous Brightstone Circus scandal, whereby their prize elephants were stolen and taken off to as yet undetermined locations. This obviously generated quite a lot of hubbub around the city. There were a lot of people who wanted to know who did this. And it caused a fair bit of heat to fall upon the party and actually gave them their first wanted level, which is a mechanical thing in this game, which is where you get a certain amount of heat. You then clear all that heat, which is nice, but you also gain a wanted level, which isn't nice. When you gain a wanted level, you also start rolling entanglements, which is what I have done prior to tonight. And the entanglement that has been rolled, gentlemen, is interrogation. Now, I will read out what this means to you. This means that the Bluecoats will round up one of the PCs and question them about the crew's crimes. In this case, we have all very conveniently decided that the PC in question will be Silas Greenback, as he is not currently present. Would anybody like to give me a bit of a hint as to how is it that Silas actually managed to get himself captured?
Well, as we know from last episode, he's setting up his lawyering, his maritime law lawyering firm. And to do that, unfortunately, he had to hand in some paperwork to the district court for Duskfall. So he goes in, his big old stack of papers, just looking to file some things, goes up to the desk, the policeman's there, and stood basically right next to a poster for, basically a wanted poster for himself and the rest of the gang. So as he hands in the sheet, they say, "Yeah, sir, that's good, thank you. Boys, cuff him and lead him off."
Yes, indeed. So like I say, they're going off to interrogate him, not only about the crimes of the potential group, but also because Mr. Greenback has become a pretty prominent figure recently for the Lamp Blacks and their revolutionary movement, which was all Sean's idea, by the way. It's entirely his own fault. And yes, they have He is not only has he sort of been stirring up some spark within the rebellion, but he's also been being very public about it. They all know who he is, and when asked, they will definitely rat on him. So, that being said, all of those things have come together, and Silas has been taken off for interrogation, and I'll go through with that. What that means, that won't immediately affect us, but it will affect us going forward. But for now, we have these three. So, shall we, gentlemen, dive into what you will be doing this evening? So, we start off this particular session a few days, like I said, after the heist of the circus, because we have sort of given our time for the immediate aftermath to cool down a bit. All of the initial newspaper headlines and the scoundrels and everybody in the streets sort of shouting and demanding answers have kind of died down a bit. Obviously, interrogation is happening currently, so we will discover that later. But where will you all be at this point then? So we're in the middle of a day. We're on a weekend. We're in the middle of the day currently. Where would you all be at this point?
I'm bottling new of my high quality fine spirits.
Very good. Are you doing these on the boat?
Yeah,
in the layer?
I'm just siphoning off some of the petrol from the boat engine, adding a shit ton of water in there, giving it a good shake, throwing in like a cinnamon stick, and then putting it, bottling it.
Damn.
Very good. Orlan, whereabouts would you be at this point? What would you do? In free play at the moment, so not currently trying to set up a score, but just in free play. So where would you be right now?
I'm going to visit Mama. There have been some developments that I need to work on.
Okay.
I'm
You want
not
to play that?
happy.
You want to play that out? Want to go
Yeah,
in more
sure.
detail, or are you just going to be vague? Leave it vague for now.
If you want to go more.
Yeah, we'll play it out for a bit.
So I like go to the thing, make sure that I've washed my hair. I'm still in like my scrappy clothes, but I like try and make myself look nice. Like did to
Yep. Very good.
my mother. I wait to be let in.
Yeah,
For some
eventually.
reason, she's not letting me straight in.
No. There seems to be a lot of activity in the camp, so there's a lot of people kind of rushing about. Again, what's happened recently has brought a wave of law enforcement and heat down on a lot of the city, so it's impacted everywhere. So there's a lot of people just trying to organise stuff, but eventually there will be someone who sticks their head out of the door and waves you through. So.
And I'd like do the thing. I like bow and I'm like, as long as she lives, Queen Anastasia, there's still faith for Scotlander. Like stand up, wait for her to like let me like speak, because I know I'm in a bit of trouble.
Thank you, my child. Now, care explaining what I'm sure you saw outside?
There are, Mama, if you would let me, there are two things I would like to discuss. One is that I have found work for many Scotlander man. Two is that I must move you.
Say again that. I missed that. Sorry, Addison. What was that?
So the first one's that I've got work for a bunch of the blokes on the Gondoliers.
Oh, yes.
And the second one is that I kind of like basically like preface that with the work, like, and now I must move you camps.
Well, always start with the good news, I guess. That's always something, I guess. But how exactly do you intend we do this?
We this is where Olam's like, I do not know, but your position is compromised, and I am not happy with the fact that I know that somebody knows you're here. So I must insist that you move as soon as possible. I insist, with your permission. I just like bow my head. I'm like, oh shit! Like, I'm in so much trouble.
Well, it is as I feared. It is definitely something that I thought would probably have to happen. The arrangements that are being made outside are currently for people to leave at a moment's notice, should it be required. Although, to be honest, I am... Actually, you know what? She at that point, she's sort of been keeping herself quite prim and proper. And at that point, she sort of flexes a bit and is like, I'm actually quite fucked off. You know that was not the best way you could have done this. You acquire work for our men, but you do so at the cost of what? Our freedoms? People like this, they use incidents like this to oppress us, and you know this.
It was not my intention, Mama. It was a misunderstanding between me and my associates. I will speak to them about it in future.
Be sure that you do.
But the person who knows you are here, who wishes to come calling on you, is someone I would not like you to meet. Their influence in the war was quite big, quite catastrophic. So I need you to move as quickly as possible, and I think the best way to do it would be to use the gondoliers that we have just secured work on.
I believe we can make our own arrangements. I think you've done quite enough for now. I will do as you wish, and I will move our people so that they are safer. But if it will please you, not that I really care if it does, I will do this of my own. I also appreciate the work that you have acquired, and I'm sure that will help us going forward. But for now, please leave us to get on with our arrangements.
Very well, Your Highness. Your Grace. I will leave you to it, and I bow and don't turn my back on her until I have to leave. And
as you're turning to leave, she'll just sort of she'll flag you down again. She'll say, "Do not stop what you're doing, though. Know that I still admire the work that you do for us, and I know that you try and help. You have our best interest at heart. That is all I ever ask. Please don't stop being who you are."
I will make sure to come more often, Mama. Just make sure the boast is hot, and I shall be here.
I would like that. Now, please.
So when I come back to the boat, have we got bedrooms now? Because I thought we purchase?
Yeah, you've got a slightly more luxurious.
I think we've got hammocks. I think we've stretched for hammocks.
We added a shed on top of it, and we've now got a bedroom.
A granny annex.
Yeah, so I you literally hear me slam the door, and I pull the door handle off in my hand, and I'm like, "It's fucking shithole," and I try and ram it back in. As I'm you just see that I'm fucking furious, duh, duh, fucking these fucking bolts in this fucking place.
I'm imagining this is while Aldrich's making his bootleg liquor, and he just turns. He's like, "Drink."
I do not want that shit. I know you've just taken that out the fucking engine. And I turn over like a stroppy child in my hammock, almost throwing myself out of it. Fucking, why do we not have beds?
Did our meeting not go very well, mate? Or
I do not want to talk about it, especially to you. Fucking.
Very good. So we'll leave that there before it escalates. Giscard, you also have free time, obviously, on this day. What would you be doing with that free time?
Tinkering with things, probably.
Would you be doing that on the boat or somewhere else?
Probably somewhere else. Let's go with a nondescript university building that's some sort of engineering establishment let in by a friend of the university.
I was about to say, do they still let you in there when you blow up one
Yeah,
of them?
you do still have a small number of people that you know that more through
some
respect
friends of
for
the
you
faculty,
and who you were previously will let you in to use the facilities, if you will.
Yeah. Couple of drinks here. Bit of shop time there. You know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you'll be there, obviously, doing what you would be doing. Spend a few hours there, I guess, and then you just sort of head out.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is not a time I can use to reduce any stress. So.
Unfortunately, not. No,
No,
we've gone through the downtime phases. Unfortunately.
Yeah. My work is probably not very good. Still a bit dazed. So yeah.
That's fine. So yeah, you'll head out at that point, like you say, sunshine at that point. What passes for sunshine in Duskfall? You go out, you sort of your eyes kind of. You're still a bit dazed, obviously, from the previous score. Still mostly recovered, but a little bit worse for wear still. Your eyes too go a bit misty. The sun catches in, and as they sort of focus on, you notice you walked out into the sort of the university courtyard, and you notice across the way there is a man sat on a bench, sort of staring quite intensely towards you. As your eyes adjust, sorry,
I'll do a loop around the courtyard. I'm assuming it's a square courtyard.
Yeah, so it's like a sort of fountain
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so fountain in the middle, 4 benches facing it, and then square.
I'll go around the edge of the courtyard to another door on the corner, on the opposite diagonal, and see if he watches follow him, or whether he gets up and follows.
He'll sort of watch you for the moment, but you can see he sort of does shift his position in the chair as if he's ready to rise. And as your eyes do focus, you realize you recognize him.
Oh yeah.
This is somebody that you know as a contact of yours, quite a long distant friend, a psychonaut actually. Somebody who likes to indulge in, whereas he would call it science. He's spoken about it with you before, whereas really what it is he call again science, expansion of the mind. He likes to believe he is a philosopher in that sense, likes to experiment in much the same way that you would, but yes, very much so. It is with psychedelics and other substances.
Well, halfway around, as I recognize him, I will go straight towards him. Beldrin, long time no see. How are you doing, old friend?
Oh, yeah, it's going good. Yeah, awesome.
What brings you down here to the university?
Well, you actually. I was wondering if we could talk. Somewhere maybe a bit less public.
Yeah, sure. I'll lead him straight back to the workshop I've just vacated. It's empty enough.
Yeah, awesome.
Has he got like a big bag of Cheetos? And like a beanie that's got...
It's just a bag of shrooms. He's literally just eating a bag of shrooms like Mike Tyson did. It's just...
Oh. So you'll lead him back to the workshop, and you will, I guess you'll both sit down.
Yeah. We'll perch on benches or whatever sort of wood, stools are in there.
Yep.
What brings you to my neck of the woods?
Well, you can see his hand sort of start to shake a bit, and as he pulls out a little metal tin and pops a small pill in his mouth, and he's noticed sort of he breathes a few times, and the shake does subside. Well, first of all, I just want to say, massive congratulations on the other week. I'm assuming that was you.
Oh well, I couldn't possibly know what you're on about.
I've got another thing from my wall now, mate. Like I had the front page from that other time, and now I've got something I can put next to it. Oh, seeing you there it really enhances my trip, my research, my research endeavors.
You read far too much into the news. You know this, Felden.
Oh, it's the only thing to read around here these days. Unless, of course, you'd let me access the library, but you've already said no to that before.
Well, I no longer work here. I'm being allowed here by a member of the faculty, as a friend of mine. So you'd have to ask someone else nowadays if you could get access to the library. I can no longer provide this service.
He sort of giggles at that. He's like, yeah, that's a good point. Oh, okay. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting off track. I do have a reason for meeting you here today, other than just congratulations. It's well, congratulations, I suppose, to you and to your other new compatriots. You've been making quite the name for yourselves, and I'm sure quite the bit of coin on the side. And I was wondering if you could be interested in an opportunity that maybe would benefit both of us. You with a bit of coin, me with some new research material. I am always looking for ways to expand my mind, just as you are, my friend.
Well, yeah, very much so, but it depends what you have in mind.
Well, there's a lab in Silkshore, which is operated by the Circle of Flame. They have been developing something recently. Something that I noticed last time I was around. There were a few people talking. I glimpsed one of the papers they were holding, and it was quite lucrative. Big chemistry-related project. And it seems to be one of those things where, where they develop medicines, but also they develop things. They develop the thing that will hurt you before they develop the medicine, right? So this is the thing that will have the effect, and then they'll try and think of the thing to counter the effect.
I think I follow what you're alluding to. Do you know? Do you have an inn, perhaps, with this establishment?
I know where it is. It's like I said, it's down in Silkshore.
Oh, it's all very well and good knowing where it is, but if you don't know anybody, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Well, I can. Maybe if I point you in the right direction, you can scope it out. Maybe see the people, how they come and go. And I don't really like to go down there. I tend to stand out. it's quite a
fair enough.
It's a district of. I mean, Silkshore as it's the sort of a very artistic part of the city, and it's also essentially the Red Lamp district.
Surely he'd blend in perfectly down there.
Yes, you could say that my attention is often elsewhere when I'm down there, as I'm sure you.
Well, indeed, but are you sure you don't know anybody who works for their establishment that we could meet, maybe?
I don't know them personally. Say all I know is that the place. I've heard them talk of this new chemical, and I just think it would be an exciting research opportunity, and I think you and your friends would have the means to acquire it for me. I think you can help me with that, and then obviously I'd pay. I'd always pay, and there'd probably be other things there that would be to your liking. Others would pay for those.
All right, I'll look into it. I can't promise anything, of course.
That's all I.
But I can certainly have a look and see what we see what is going on down there.
That's all I ask. You'll know where to find me. I tend to hang out. I tend to hang out there quite a lot these days.
Indeed.
You'll see me. You'll see me again. If you.
Yes, do take care of yourself and go easy on the pills, and maybe wear the tin hat a bit more often, eh?
Oh, don't you worry. I have a collection.
Good man. Anyway,
Speaking
I must be going.
Yes, as must I to my duties.
And I will. We'll stand up at this point and show him out and make sure he's off university property, and that the lab the workshop I've used is locked up properly too.
Yeah, just you'll grab your hand at this point and shake it quite vigorously as you part ways. You'll know you're not really sure if the vigorousness of the handshake is just from how excited he is, or maybe the tremors are returning.
Yeah.
But no, he darts off, and yeah, what do you with the new information you have acquired?
I shall let the rest of the gang know. there may be something going on down there that we might want an in on.
If you return to the boat, I'm like putting in a new door handle.
I'm also still stropping. You can just hear like almost. You think it's the like the purr of the engine, but it is just me like seething. You just hear like just constantly.
Oh, I love it.
I will go and see if I can find some more information about this operation, in various bars, pubs, etc. See if I can bump into some workers by accident or whatever. Maybe see if I can get a job there as a day job. You said it did medicine.
So yeah, if you're heading down to Silkshore, I guess is what you mean.
Anyway, wherever, follow a worker home, find out where they live, find out where they eat, drink, whatever.
Yep, that's fine. So you head down to
do the recon thing. Yeah, with the idea being that maybe we can bump into someone in a pub. Don't you work down? And then get into a discussion about it. Maybe see if I can get a sort of day job there to get an in.
Okay, then. So if you're heading down to Silkshore, we'll call this gathering information.
Yeah.
So it'll be a skill check. What skill do you think would best suit this particular information you'd like to gather? If you're sort of scoping out the place and trying to find exactly where.
Shit. Nothing that I've got.
Well, no. What skill do you think would? Is there any skill you've got?
I'm going to throw study because I'm going to people watch. How's that?
People watching probably more survey if you've got that, or study. Feel free to say study as well if you've got. Have you got survey, or is it just study you've got?
I just have study.
Okay, then. So if you're going to sort of, what we'll say is, if you'll use that as like a sort of you're not so much watching the area, you're more checking the routines. Boo, boo.
That is categorically the worst one of those skills you could have.
Fat friendly people. It's me.
But no, so yeah, you will feel free. Yeah, you can study the sort of routines, if you will, of the workers. If you go down there, you'll find a building eventually, which has got, again, it's got a large flame within a circle. It's a pretty self-explanatory logo for them. It is a research building. It's advertised as such, and you can watch it like you're sort of watching Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory with every day the people coming in and out, and like so you can watch the routines and the comings and goings on the outside. So yeah, I'll let you gather information with that with a study roll.
Their logo might also be as obvious as a red fish fired as a big firework.
Who knows? 5. Yep. So you will be able to watch them for a few hours because it's quite a rapid sort of change. It's not so much you will not need to scope them out for forever. But yeah, studying the routines, you can see that there isn't a public entrance necessarily. There isn't a way that anyone can just sort of walk in. It'd be, if you in terms of like acquiring a job there, you don't really know from just looking at the place how you would go about it. But you can definitely see that there are a number of entrances for deliveries and also for members of staff going in and out. And they do seem to be coming in and out at all times of day. It's not like a sort of place that everybody goes at the end of the day, at the beginning and all come out at the end. It's like there are deliveries coming in at all times. There are people walking out at all times, all in various states. They are well-dressed individuals, obviously, with as scientific as you can look in this day and age, with they've got sort of big, large gloves on sometimes. Some of them come out wearing masks, but you say they're always...
There's got to be somewhere nearby where they all go for lunch or meet after work, yada, yada, yada. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no worries. So what you'll see is nearby Silkshore, obviously it is not the poorest, one of the poorest districts of Duskwell, so there's definitely a social scene there. There are eateries and taverns and such. And yet there is a tavern just across the road that you notice that some of the workers do tend to frequent. Not so much the higher end staff. Like you notice that there are some quite well-dressed individuals, and then there are the ones, like I mentioned, that come out with like the workers, essentially. They're the sort of bots of the operation, not necessarily the mines. But they tend to go across the street, down a ways, to a tavern that you notice is called the Anvil Works. It's got a sort of, well, it's cliche, the cliche hanging signs of Victorian taverns, and it's got a big anvil over the top, and obviously the name underneath. And you do notice that the workers that you do watch, you see them going. You're watching this in the middle of the day, so early afternoon, and you notice a group of them come out and obviously head in there.
Yeah, so I will start frequenting that over a couple of days. and eventually start talking to the drones and sort of say, what's the what's the deal? What do you guys do in there? And sort of introduce myself as a technician, of equipment, and see if they know anybody who's got a job. See if they've got any department that needs a technician to do any sort of, mechanical tinkering work and fixing things.
So at that point, they will again. You can chat to them over sort of we'll say this particular day, and then you can come back the next day, obviously, to chat to them again. The first day, you'll go in, you'll sort of introduce yourself, you'll offer to buy them lunch, they'll gladly accept. Sort of, you'll get in sort of a bit pally with them. The second day, you'll go back and you'll start asking them things about the work and looking to get into the work, and they'll be, once you start to mention the work, they'll become quite reserved with you, like, no mate, you don't. That's not how you go about asking.
I'll approach it as I hear you do medicine and medical establishment stuff, and the legit side of the business. Won't mention anything about the
But that's for me. Like if you start talking to them about that, they will just not gonna.
It won't be over 2 days. It'll probably be over like a week or two. So
that's what this is because again, the 5 roll is a mild complication, and the complication you've got is if you try and approach them about the subject, obviously they just shut down about it. They're not going to reveal any information to you just from idle chit chat. So that's what you've gathered. That's obviously the information that you've gathered so far. Are you going to go and say currently you're doing this solo as well? So
yeah, and I'll keep it up for as long as it's needed. So.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, you'll get to a point with them. They'll gladly be happy and pally with you. They'll still be civil with you. But obviously, if you do start to veer towards the line of tell me a bit about what the lab does and tell me a bit
I'm not asking about what the lab does. I understand that it does medicine, as in medicine for hospital and medical care, not medicine. So I understand as I understand it. So I won't. I'll be saying, look, I can do this, I can maintain the equipment, yada yada yada. I'm not asking them specifically what they do.
No, but that's what I mean. But you are making inquiries as to how you could get in on the lab, and they are not. They are at that point. Again, every time you try and go near that subject, they shut you off instantly, and they're not going to approach it. So, unfortunately, that's as far as you can get with them on that front.
Then I leave.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, are you going to, at this point, will you go and let the others know what you found? Because again, I guess you've not told them at this point, have you, or have you?
Well, other than there's a factory doing this, that's about it. Yeah. I come back and didn't glean. I didn't glean much. It was they were a bit of a closed book.
I guess you come in if Orland's still sulking. Aldrich's just like on the hammock opposite, just like staring at him. Until he tries to try to conversation. Like when you walk in, I'm just like, I think he's having lady troubles.
Alden sort of sat there in the hammock like this, I imagine.
Well, that's a surprise.
Like, I keep he sees me trying to read like I said the Duskvold equivalent of Pride and Prejudice, like some trashy Jane Austen novel, trying to ignore him. But then he breathes or something, and you just see me go, look at him
Oh, come on, buddy. We're all well, not friends, but associates here. You can tell me what's up, kid.
My association with you has cost me dearly. The opinions of certain important people that I cannot name, and now they do not trust me wholeheartedly, but do. It's very confusing, and I've never been in this situation before. It's all your fault.
I mean, in fairness, we did just get a bunch of your old war buddies some jobs, so, I mean, potato, really? Come on, Orlan, you want to go punch things? We can go find some people to rob.
We'll say Giscard walks in at that point.
Yeah, why not? If you want people to rob, I know of a place down, where was it, Silk Road? Silk Shore, that was it.
Silk Shore.
another place in the Silk Shore that might be worth a quick look.
And this time, are you willing to sell the loot, or you want to keep it as a pet again?
This isn't the kind of loot I want to keep. It is a medical facility. They make medicine as a cover, but they're working on cooking up some new street drug by the sounds of it.
I have no moral objection to this. I mean, we've already tried racketeering. Why not drug dealing? Orlin?
I don't even turn round. I'm still looking at the book. I'm like, will I get to punch things?
If you're still in that,
certainly.
if you're still in the same hammock where you were, a day or two ago, I'm gonna poke you in the sort of mid lower back, so you sort of gently start swinging and say, "You gonna mope around all your bloody life."
Don't harass the Scotland bear, alright? You already broke off my fucking handle.
Olin's like the little child of the group. You're like, come with me if I buy you something, will you come with me? It's like, will you come with me if you get to punch something?
He like turns around to Discard. He's like, Discard. He's like, I do not like drugs, but if it will get us money, I will do the drugs. No, I will not do the drugs. I will steal the drugs for someone else to do. Is this how this works?
That is pretty much how drug dealing works, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I do not condone this behavior, but I will say that if we do this subtly, you have this word in your language, yes, subtle. Like,
yes, I'm not entirely sure you've learnt the meaning of it yet, Orlin.
Aldrin
yes,
turns and looks at his box of fireworks.
Like, I steal army jackets. I get flare gun. I make flares to blind people, and then someone messes with my flare gun to make it big red herring, which we have on the side of our boat. And I like point at like one of the walls that has it like painted up. Like,
and then Aldrich goes, "Yeah, I might have been introducing us to potential clients as the red herrings as well."
Let me just make a note of that.
I look at like Giscard for a minute. I'm like, I'm going to kill him, and then I'm going to sink him under this boat, and no one will find his body for days until he bloats and he floats up in above, and they will be like, "Oh, what is that?" And they will poke it with stick, and then they will go, "I will leave that," and they will just leave it in river.
Now,
Okay, before we actually start,
now Orlin, just remember you've done the job wrong if they float up afterwards, mate. You really need to remember
gentlemen, I might be a bit, audacious with our heist, but and then I point to the safe. Isn't our safe like full in our thing now? Don't we need the next crew upgrade thing? So I guess like the door of the safe is kind of like had to be forced open, and there's like a coin or two like on the floor. I just point over to the brimming safe, and I'm like, in fairness, it has been working.
I can see that one, although perhaps it could have been done more. What's the word, Orlin? Subtly.
But I will say, is the Taekwondo word for this touche? Like
yeah.
Taekwondo is now French. I'm just
That does sound like a Taekwondo word. I'll give you that. Right, so we got to steal some drugs. I'm assuming that you tried to go the social route, and because you're a weird fucker who, shelled a building, didn't go so well.
I never shelled a building. It was the machine inside the building that gave up the ghost.
Who built the machine?
Students.
Right, looks like I've got to go flirt with some poor bastard and find out how we get in this route. Try and cheer up our Scotland friend while I'm gone, Giscard. Slap him on the shoulder.
There certainly seems before you go. There certainly seems to be people going in and out 24 hours a day. Doesn't seem to be a quiet building at night.
Sounds like me in my teenage years, in and out all day. Catch you later. He just strolls off the boat.
We could take this, just drive off without him. That is a
You're still on the sinking boat.
So I assume Giscard, that you tell Aldrich about the tavern and how to get there.
Yeah, and the what I've done, seen, said so far, yeah. No.
Yep.
Brief
No
you
worries.
before
So,
you go.
Aldrich, you're going to go and try and gather some info of your own.
I am. I'm going to consort. Would me consorting specifically with some members of the Inebriati help me here?
Well, you can certainly tell me how you want the Inebriati to be of assistance, and as I've said before, we will make a fortune roll to
Well,
see how successful they are.
As they're such a wide and diverse group of intellectuals, one of them obviously works at the factory. So I'm just gonna be like, all right, mate.
Why don't you tell me how you want them to help?
I want them to tell me.
I will have explained to you that I was trying to get a job as a medical worker there for the like the normal day kind of work.
I want them to tell me where exactly in the building the drugs are kept. Where the formulas for the drugs are kept.
You want to ask a member of the Inebriati?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, give a consult then. We'll see how successful. Because again, you're assuming that one of them probably does know something, but you're not sure 100%. So
that's all good. That's all good. 2 4s. Not
2 4s.
Excellent, but we might be able to find out something.
So, you meet up with you call a meeting of the Inebriati in your usual watering hole, and you're having a chat with them all. Doesn't look like any of them do work for the lab directly. However, there is one who happens to frequent Silkshore and frequent the Red Lamp District, because it's called the Red Lamp District in Duskwell, not the Red Light District.
Mm-hmm.
And he happens to frequent somewhere there where he knows for a fact that there is a certain establishment of a certain type of business. Trying to be very subtle with my hints here, guys, because I don't want to promote the type of thing we all know I'm talking about. And he happens to know that the clientele of said business definitely do work in that lab. The people who work there is what he tells you. The people who work there are kept in sort of constant rotation, obviously because of the nature of the business, and so it means that they all because of the quick turnaround, none of the people who actually work there really get a chance to get away much. A lot of them live in far reaches of the city, and they're not able to like go home and come back very frequently. So they tend to find their social scene, their enjoyment from local establishments.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular establishment, it's a brothel. If you
I
weren't
was going to
already.
say you're trying to allude to ladies of negotiable affection, but you hadn't got the words to say it.
Courtesans, if you will.
Courtesans, very very high in kosher courtesans. So basically, yes, there is an establishment of courtesans nearby where he knows that there are definitely workers of this facility who very much like to frequent there.
I'm going to go get a job as a courtesan.
So suddenly Aldrich's a rent boy.
Suddenly.
Oh, mate.
If you think it's only suddenly, you've not been paying attention.
Oh, mate, you know what? Do me a favour. You walk into this place, which is called Undercross. Roll sway for the bartender to see how seductive you can be to him and see how likely he is to make you a courtesan of his establishment.
Well, presumably, as Dusk Falls an equal opportunity city, there'll be ladies who... Oh, God. 2 and a 1. He walks up and he goes, alright, sugar tits. He
walks out, he sort of grabs his shirt and he tries to rip it, but he doesn't get quite the sort of purchase on it, and it doesn't
break
any.
the seam.
And as he sort of he's like, it's not working, he tries again and he flips back over a bar stool. The bartender leans over the bar, looks down at you, and goes, "You know what, mate? Just for that, the first one's on the house." He snaps his fingers at you, and a lady of the night walks over to him at his request, and he points at you and he goes, "This one made me laugh. Give him what he asks for. Come back to me in an hour." He walks off.
This hasn't gone as bad as it could have gone. Okay, I'm going to disappear into... Is this a brothel with rooms in?
Yeah, sorry. It is, yes. But yeah,
No, they
Addison.
just use the tables all over the place.
Well,
Come
you
on.
might have to take them back somewhere.
Yes, Addison.
So after Aldrich leaves, Orlan goes to his his like, you know that Orlan's got like a trunk of stuff. He doesn't have a lot, and you know that his medal's quite important and stuff like that. But literally, Discard watches him start like taking his stuff off, like washing. You see him like pull out like quite an expensive perfume, like aftershave bottle, like put that on. I basically dress in really nice clothes all of a sudden, like Regency clothes, like silk jacket, ruffles, like cravat and everything. I like look at this guy and I'm like, do I look like one of your, what do you call them? Dandies, yes? Da?
Is there something you're not telling us of with this getup?
I like buckle some like really nice shoes and stockings, and I'm like, would you like to find out? And I would like to use a command role and basically use like my status as like a lordling, like knowing how like the lordling.
You're throwing that against an academic, and you know that students in academia tend to rebel against the
No, but
lords
like,
and ladies.
but
But I will say
basically,
yes, I do.
no, not you specifically, but how
Oh,
I want to
right.
gain information about this is basically I want to set up a meeting where I'm trying to buy as many of these like drugs as I can for like a blowout with like lots of lordlings and ladies, like, because I know how they party. Like,
Right.
so
I know what you mean.
I want to use my command role, like basically throw my weight around as like a lordling, and like, because I'm even putting on like as you saw me do like the Akarosi soldier, like, eh, come on you wankers. I'm like, oh yes, like my name is Peter Walker, and I'm the son of the Walkers, and my family have just recently come into some great business, and we're here to celebrate with our friends. Like, Giscard's like watching me. I like bring Giscard with me, and he's
Yeah,
like
I'll
watching
dress
me
up for
like,
the occasion.
yeah, like I'm like, basically that's how I want to try and like find some information. I want to set up a meeting with someone at the office and see if I can buy a shipment, basically.
Yeah, so I think if you're using commands, you'd be sort of using it on, I guess, some lackey that you see about, and like, I want you to find your boss and get him to come and meet me, sort of thing.
You there, boy? Yes, you. Right.
Hello? What?
Get me someone important, and get me a meeting with them straight away. They should know I'm coming. I've sent word. If they do not know, they are running a shit establishment, and I will tell my friends. Do not test me, boy. You should have been gone 5 seconds ago.
Oh,
Be gone.
what the? Fine.
Shoot! Go get your boss.
Cool. Make me a command roll. Risky position. Standard effect.
All risky.
Nice.
I'll take that 6, please, DM.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
this is
Yes. He looks at you initially, and then you're seeing, as you're sort of telling him to shoot, you sort of flash a look of menace at him, and oh god, like, he does at that point, like, fine. And this
the
is
like flips for a second, like, oh yes. Yeah, so then when he does it, I'm like,
so you've taken down with the gift card. You're outside this facility, seeing you've basically targeted one of the younger looking but more well dressed individuals, and so somebody who's, again, would look like more of the brains of the operation rather than just the lackeys who mix the chemicals and do the dangerous work. But yeah, he's sort of like, and then he'll dash off. He'll run back to you, sort of like, oh, my apologies.
Whilst he's gone, I look at Giscard and I'm like, the name in Scotland is Piotr, but you call it Peter, yes?
I believe that's the translation, yes.
Yeah. My name is Peter Walker. My family have recently come into possession of a caravan business from the Deadland, which is going very well. You are my, let us say, accountant for now.
Okay.
And then when he comes, I put on back on the accent, and I'm like, "Oh yes, I think this will be a very good investment. The networking we're going to do is going to be fantastic."
So he brings this sort of lad comes running back, and he brings with him someone older, more senior. And sort of the senior man sort of stands in front of him and he goes, "Right, I don't really know what you think you're doing, harassing the staff around here, but as well you know, mate, we can't just let it be letting anybody in. We've got a big new thing brewing at the minute, and we ain't got no time for any new clients. So,
my friend, please. We all know how this works. We all know that you're going to tell me that you're so busy and you can't take any more clients, even though you're in the market. You're a seller. I'm a buyer. We can help each other here. You know, it seems like you don't understand the position you're in, sir. My family and my connection are going to make you very rich. But if you are stupid enough to risk that by offending me, then I can take my business elsewhere to your competitors, and they will get the silver, and they will get the custom, and the repeated custom at that. So, find me an office, find me someone I can do business with, or prepare for me and my friend here, my fine associate here, to walk away. So, 5. I'm waiting.
yeah, as I might, mate, for you to stop talking, to tell you that actually this isn't going to work. I've already told you, mate. There's nothing I can do about it. It's not about us offending you. We're literally just too busy at the minute, mate. We ain't got no time for anything new. All of our orders are already full. Maybe, you know what? You seem like a reasonable gent. You seem like you've got a bit of wits about yourself, and you do seem like you could be in business for us. Maybe when all of this new stuff that we've got coming in has all been sorted out and squared away, which shouldn't take too long, probably the next couple of days, it'll all be squared away and sent off to where it needs to be. Then we can have another meeting with you and talk. How's about we meet that pub there down the road, Blood Pits. Pretty good place. Don't take the name of it, but no, be there in a couple of days after all of that stock that we've got in there currently is gone, and we'll sort something out, mate. Anyway, listen, don't mean to be rude, but I must go. And he turns around and leaves.
But what if I want the stock that's going out?
Too late, mate. Should have ordered it sooner. As he walks away, he's walking away from you at that point. We'll cut back to Aldrich at this point. What would you like to?
I would like to just have known that I have had a meeting with the courtesan for a flashback later, and I guess I'm leaving the brothel as they're leaving the drug
What's the
den.
expression on your face at the minute? I'm curious just for how will we be viewing this? What's the expression that you're currently?
I've got like a big red lipstick mark on my face, and I'm there and I'm trying to light like one of those Victorian style clay pipes, and I see the guys and I see how they're dressed, and I just take one really long drag of my clay pipe.
Has he
Cool.
made me dress like this so he can go pay for attention? Is this what he has done to Giscard? Discard, please tell me that is not what has happened.
So
Sorry,
you guys,
What's he made you do?
Dressed like this, and I like point at myself like,
You're looking fucking fancy. What's going on here?
And I turn to one and say, I thought you were dressing yourself.
so are you guys. So what's your next step then, guys? I'll ask. How
I
you
would
go?
like
So you know-
to engagement roll to break in, but I don't know if you guys want to do that yet.
do you want me to do you want me to go to this meeting? Because he says it's going to be squared away.
There is no meeting arranged.
I would like to
Okay.
steal the loot as it's leaving, because I think it will be not very guarded then.
Again, all you know at the minute currently is that in a couple of days, what's currently, as the guy mentioned in passing, they've currently got some stock there that's going to be sent out, but you don't. That's all you know. In a couple of days, it will be going, and you don't know where.
I guess it's engagement roll time then, because we haven't got I'm willing to go with the vote, but if it's going out before I can meet with that guy at the Blood Pits,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a lot else I can think
Yeah.
of in terms of inns. You
Yeah,
know.
it is literally. We're gonna have to Italian job this shit and boost it in transit.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Is that what? So what's your plan then?
Swap it for a placebo.
It's so really quickly. Transport.
Mhm.
That means we're transporting something, not we're attacking something in transport.
Technically,
right?
it does mean you are transporting something. Yes.
Okay,
as a
so
squad.
I think this is technically going to be an assault.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely an assault.
But
Yeah.
I would like to, at this point, I would like to consult our hidden canals map and try and find somewhere along their route, because they're obviously going down this street, right? I want to find somewhere that if we got control of the wagon, we could jump it into a canal and have it on a boat for us to sail through our hidden canals.
So you want to consort with a map.
Well, we've got the map, right? We've got the...
He
Yeah,
means
we've got the
consult. He
object.
wants to consult the
consult.
You want to
map.
look at the map. You don't want to roll consort on a map.
No, I want to look at the map.
Well, I mean, it depends what
wants
you're
to
into.
consult.
We won't
You
judge.
can use your upgraded, hidden, like underground, sort of your underground maps of the city. There is quite a detailed actual district of Silk Shore because obviously there are quite a lot of back alleys and places that people can get away in this place. And yet you can see the main sort of routes going away from from Silk Shore and leading off. Most of them tend to go down the one street and then they split, obviously, to go to different regions of the city. There is one bridge, which is the main thoroughfare into the rest of the city, goes through to Crow's Foot. And then from there, the shipment sort of splits off in all directions.
Okay. I point this out to the guys, and then before I say anything, I look at Orlan and I go, so how the fuck are we boosting this discreetly?
Is there drainage? Like, is there like drainage on the, or would that be at the side?
Not massive drainage, no.
Where there, it's from a roof then somewhere.
Oh, I'm gonna swing in like Errol Flynn onto the top of this cart. I love that.
Yep.
So are we making the engagement roll, gents, for an assault?
For an assault.
So what's the detail that we'll need is the point of attack. Where are you going to try
Errol
and...
Flynn swing on top of the cart is our point of attack.
Nice. So you're going to do this
with some sort of method of stopping it.
Are you doing this in Silk Shore, or are you waiting until it's slightly... Because you can see, again, one detail I'll add from earlier, which is something that Giscard, having spent the time that he did around, is you'll know the routes, essentially, from... You've seen, because it's an active place, you've seen transports leaving in the direction that they've been heading, and obviously that they are bound for different places.
Just before it crosses a bridge, that's when we're going to swing onto it. Like a bridge over a canal. Because the idea, I think, would be a good one, is have our canal boat underneath it. So we stop it on the bridge, throw all the loot onto our canal boat, and get away on the canal boat, leaving the carriage.
Yep. So you want to do that just before the main bridge leaving Silk Shore?
Yeah. So will all three of them, because she said there's... How many things are there going to be in this caravan?
You don't know. You know the size, roughly the size and shapes of the caravans. They're sort of four-wheeled carts, like they're horse-drawn carts, because they're traditional here. They seem to be the most efficient way of getting things where they need to quickly. They don't need to worry about things breaking down, or like they seem to be slightly easy to maneuver around the streets. So the single horse-drawn carts, four wheels, roughly 6 foot by 4. That's the size of the shipment.
How many carts in this shipment? Just for one.
This shipment will be for the entire city, so there will be roughly 6 carts.
And will they all be crossing this bridge?
They will all be crossing this particular bridge at the same time, after which they will split off.
Yeah, okay. This is where we boost it then, because we get the most out of it.
There'll be 2. There's normally, from what you've seen previously, there's 2 people per cart.
Not if guns have got anything to do with it.
We don't want to kill that many people. Or anyone, if we can avoid.
No, gents. That's what you know. That's your point of attack. Shall we make the engagement roll?
So my consort roll, even though it failed, does that still give us 1 dice? Because it's very unclear.
I can. Yeah, if you've.
I I mean, no, it didn't fail.
If you
In
want-
reality, told me some information about the brothel, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they did. So they've told you some information, and you've allowed that to be set up as a flashback. I assume you said that earlier.
Yeah, you were
Yes.
keeping a flashback. Huh?
Even a flashback. So yeah, I'll give you a D6 for consort. I'll give you another D6 for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring?
Errol Flynn's swing onto carts
Yeah,
mid-transit
look,
is so cool and daring.
Hell yes. Does this plan expose a vulnerability or hit their target at their weakest? I would say it's sort of a vulnerability in the sense of you are trying to boost their stock in transit, if that's fair to say.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I've taken my loadout as well as heavy.
Yeah, snap.
I'm
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're heavy. So yeah, that's so you don't you can get another dice for that. So is there strongest against this approach or any particular defenses? I'd probably say that they'd have some lookouts maybe for probably not for a swing down over a roof, but they would have some preparations for people attacking the convoy. Any friends or contacts to provide aid or insight? Just in the moment now? Anyone think of anything?
Insight. Not really, because
Surely your druggy friend could help us with this.
Maybe.
How would he help you? Just to
That's
give
a
you an
good
extra dice for the engagement roll.
That's a good question.
Oh, I've got one. Who was
Yeah.
the Gondoliers main guy?
Yeah, I was going to say we're going to need someone to do the boat side of
Yeah,
things.
so the Gondoliers boy.
I would say you're right, Gondolier boy, and maybe some of the now working as Gondoliers, Scotlanders, to be under the bridge, ready to go, with boats.
What about the courtesan that Ben's just?
No. She's set up for something. I got something.
He's got a plan.
I got
Yeah.
someone in the back of the noggin.
So-
Yeah, we can have some aid being provided by the gondoliers by just sort of being present, maybe putting on a little bit of a distraction, but we'll work that out in the moment. You guys can do that if you want.
Oh, I'm thinking they're the getaway vehicles.
They can assist you with that as well. So that is our engagement roll dice pool, gentlemen. That is a 4d6 engagement roll. It's good.
Come on.
we need
Come
some
on.
sixes.
Ooh, it's a 6. There is a 6 in there.
Six in there.
So we start this engagement roll in a controlled position, which means that you've spent a couple of days, you've noticed the comings and goings of the lab, and you have seen that all of these carts are leaving, and then you notice that there seems to be a general hub of activity, and there are several carts being loaded up, more than you've seen leave previously. 6 large carts stocked high with these wooden crates, and each of them is being lined up. They're sort of being arranged. And then as one, they all pull off. And that's your cue. Then you see this all from your rooftop perch, I would assume. Yep. Quickly, what's everyone going as loadout? Sorry.
Heavy.
You're going heavy or
Heavy.
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 How does armor work?
So armor works by, if you take harm, then you can decide, in the moment, you basically decide you have armor and it reduces that harm by
Okay.
1 level. If you have heavy armor, it reduces it by 2 levels.
Right.
But it's something that you tick off on your loadout sheet.
Yeah, I was going to say on the loadout sheet, heavy armor and armor, they've got 3 and 2 squares respectively. How does that work?
Yep. So armor is 2 squares, but if you decide straight away you want heavy armor as an additional,
Does that
square.
count as 2 items of your 6?
Yeah. It counts.
Yep.
as-
So armor and heavy armor, I would say, if you decide you want armor, just normal armor, then you have to tick it off.
Yeah, but it's
You
2.
then-
It counts as 2 items rather than just 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
2
cool.
items. rather than
That's
just
cool.
one.
No
Yep.
problem.
So
You
because
see-
we're in a control position, do we have to roll for the swing on, or are you just going to give us the swing onto the cart?
I was gonna say you guys are going to be swinging. I've got a flashback coming. So.
Okay, so we'll say that the party members that want to be on the roof are on the roof, and they can see this. Yes,
So we're in a control position, right?
yes.
So all before we swing on, who's with me? Ben's character,
Aldrich
Aldrich,
is,
sees
yeah.
me pull out this weird looking gun that looks kind of like the flare gun from before. All right, pop it, because I get one unusual weapon as a bit of my as part of my loadout. I load a smoke canister into it, and then just to signal that we're starting, I basically fire it down to the first horse, fire it down at the first horse on the first cart to get in between its legs, and it starts like spinning, like.
As
like
that
Okay, so I'll ask at that point where this
the
I've
smoke
described
red?
this. I have described this convoy so far as just pulling out of the thing. When are you going to do that, basically?
Oh, when just as they're about to go onto the bridge.
No, do
Just
it when
as
they're
a-
on the bridge.
Well, when they're on the bridge,
the first horse reaches the far side, that's when you want to do it. And the last cart's on the bridge.
So when the last cart's on the bridge is when you want to do it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do,
so
what,
the
do you
whole-
need
the
me to
whole
roll
lot's on the
skirmish for that?
bridge.
Technically, if you're using this as a sort of, if it's a far away aimed shot, like a controlled shot, it would be hunt to
Okay.
use firearms at distance.
Okay. That's just one.
You want a
from me.
devil's bargain?
Go
Yeah.
on.
Red smoke, boy.
Yeah, red smoke.
Red
fine.
smoke.
I'll take the red. I'll take the red smoke if the GM allows it.
Yes, I will allow red smoke for a devil's bargain.
We're not being subtle in this at all, and Orland's just fucked off with it. So, come on. Yes, I'll take the
that's a
6.
1 and a 6. Yes, so you fire off this smoke canister from the roof.
Just before you fire it off, I just go, wait, no! And then you fire it, and I was like, might have switched that one out too.
And as he says this, Orland, you look at him as if to say, "What the fuck are you?" And you watch this smoke canister arc, and it lands exactly where you were going. You were counted just about for the trajectory, and it flew and it landed just in front of the first horse of the cart. And you allow the second, and then you hear this popping noise, and you see this very deep red, almost the same color as your hair, smoke that starts billowing from this canister. Not something you would have expected normally, but nonetheless, this is happening, and the smoke is now billowing. The horses in the first car become startled, and they sort of.
I need to throw a flashback in at about this point.
At this point, yep, go ahead, flashback.
Yeah, so as the canister lands, you see like railway sleepers that are sort of a good 12 inches thick.
Yep.
You see a pair of them on each end of the bridge tied together, clunk into place, leaning up against the side of a building. And there's a flashback to Veldrin. You can seeing him and some of his associates, for lack of better words, talking to them and arranging to have said big bits of wood in the way at a certain time, so that they're dropped in place. So, well, the horses might be able to run across them and vault them, but the carts behind them sure as hell won't survive. So they'll buckle the wheels as they hit them and rip the lead horses will rip off, or they can't back up because there's blocks in the way. There's one on each end of the bridge.
So it's setting it so these barriers essentially that will come down.
So the whole convoy is stuck.
So
on the bridge.
did you set these up?
Yeah, I would have made sure they were in the right place, because maybe a tad unreliable given how you've portrayed a psychonaut. Not how I would have seen it.
So if you're going to be setting these two barriers up so that they're sufficiently disguised and obviously that they operate correctly, that would be a tinker roll from yourself, please.
Excellent.
Can I use the smoke canister as like an aid action? I'll take the 2 stress, but like basically the reason why they don't see them go down is because of the fact that the smoke's already going off. So I'll take the 2 stress.
Yeah, so it will increase the effectiveness of the said trap for the tinker roll. So it'll be a controlled position, obviously. It'll be great effect, I will say, from the tinker roll. Risky position still, because you're trying to set these up in the day. So essentially, if this works, then they will be, like, because of the distraction, obviously, of the smoke screen, then any effect of stopping the cart will be increased.
Cool. 3 and a 6.
Yeah, 6. So you are able to.
Boys, it's finally going well.
You are able to set up these 2 mechanical barriers at either end of the bridge, sufficiently subtle enough so that people don't tend to realize what they are, and they are disguised sufficiently. And then, just as Orland's perfectly aimed shot from a smoke canister goes off and starts to billow red smoke, the first horse is startled and bolts at the other end of the bridge. The rider sort of thrown back in his chair, and the man with him holding a musket just sort of rolls backwards. And then he lunges for the reins, but the horses are just off. And at that point, thunk, these barriers come down. And the horses, they don't seem to care. They vault over the barriers, but like you say, the cart impact. And there is a shattering noise, a splintering of the wood as it rips. and what merch was in the back. Merch? What the fuck am I? What words am I using now? What crates were in the back, sort of pushed forwards by this impact. The cart stops where it is, but the contents carries on, and it impacts with the backs of the two men that were sitting in front, and they are thrown forwards out of the cart and seem to be inoperable. The others behind, they've obviously moved over. They've seen this smoke. They've all stopped, and now, like the ones in the second and final cart with the muskets are off, out looking around, and the others are standing up in their seats, looking around, looking to see where the threat's coming from. So that's what that looks like currently. What's this?
Do the swing.
Are you ready? Are you ready, brother?
So we'll say as part of the control position as well that you already had the fulcrum set up and the line. You won't have to roll to set that up. However,
Fucking
you
don't
will,
do it, jungle.
if you are attempting now to leap from a rooftop and swing down and land effectively in amongst this room, that will be a finesse roll from yourself, Aldrich. Presumably, you are the one
I'm
that's
still
doing
on the floor.
Yeah, fuck it. Sure, why not?
Devil's bargain. You will land effectively, but you will be right in the middle of these remaining carts. You will land by the middle cart. You will have people in front and behind you.
Oh, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be anyway. That sounds like a party.
Am I not going with him?
I was going to say, two of you, innit?
Yeah.
You want to both be on the rope at the same time?
Oh,
No, I
it's
meant
two
this one
separate
after the
ropes,
other.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll ask for finesse rolls from both of you.
Aldrich will go first because he's an idiot.
Aldrich is going first, and he is
5,
landing.
bro, in the middle of
That's a
everyone.
5. So yeah, you will head down. You will swing. You get like fucking George of the Jungle, you know. If anyone's seen that film, hopefully you all have.
Yep.
And you will land in the middle of the bridge. You will sort of come as you get down. You kind of come to a running start. One of the guys sort of notices you, and actually you make it to the one at the front, and you sort of clatter into him. And he does at that point. You lose your balance slightly when you collide with him. But we'll cut back to Orlan. Are you doing the same thing?
Yeah,
just
can I-
while you're in the air, I'm going to say, "Gentlemen, drop your weapons," and hold out a little pump pistol.
Can I?
Stand and deliver. But
Can
we'll
I-
say as well, so when you land, obviously, Aldrich, and the guys, you've landed in the middle. So as you've moved forward, obviously, like you've done your sort of running stop, and you've kind of made a bit of an impact with the guy in front. The two behind have moved to see what's going on. The two were the one that was in the rear on the ground, and someone from the car has moved off, and they're both now moving towards you from the rear.
So I'm going to say,
was
me trying to get everyone's attention is going to help his roll because I get 2 free help actions. So I'm going to say me trying to distract everyone, so he's got a better place to land behind everyone.
Yeah. So you can provide assistance with him, either for an extra dice or a greater effect. So
Extra dice for you.
Can I change the roll from finesse to wreck? And that I'm not aiming to be on top of one of the carts, but to literally just barrel through the back one, like to barrel through the back doors of the back one, like.
You want to be in the car.
Yeah, basically in it, like gun out.
So yes, I will allow you to roll wreck. And for the setup from Aldrich, I forgot your name for a second. We'll just say that's a wreck roll with great effect. Risky position, great effect.
2d6s, boys.
2d6s.
You get a
Two
+1 for me
threes.
helping as well.
No, he's
Oh,
got
sorry, you
another
got
effect
great effect.
instead.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I said. Sorry, not the extra dice. It was increased effect.
Sorry.
But you obviously you watching as Aldrich does his thing, and he's like, oh, what, you know what? And you are ready for this, and you are just taken up with the moment, and you grip the rope with 2 hands, and you push off, and you swing around. But you sort of, in your haste to sort of get the perfect amount of momentum to sort of swing in through the back doors, taken up in the moment as you are, you kick a little bit too hard. So what you actually do is you push yourself out, and you kind of, as you swing around where you would hit the doors, you go a little bit past them, and you impact on the side. The sort of edge of the cart kind of hits you, and it spins you off, and it stuns you, and you go sprawling on the floor. Please take level 1 harm stunned.
Shit. And that was with greater effect, boys. So, fuck. Like,
A wheel falls off the cart.
Yeah.
Because obviously of the great effect that you had, it's like if that was just a normal roll and that had happened, it might well have been more harm you were taking. But because of the effect that you had and the setup that you got, because they're slightly distracted by Aldrich, so you're still in the game, but you're not quite where you wanted to be, and you're a little bit like taken aback. But we'll come back at this point to Discard. Where are you and what are you doing?
I am gonna hop from where I was at the back of this procession where all these barriers went down. I'm gonna hop over the back, hop over the rear barrier and onto the back cart.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me whistle, and to the boats that were secreted earlier from our fellow gondoliers. That's the right word. You hear a whistle, and out from under the bridge appears, several gondolas.
You had the perfect rhyme there. Out from under the bridge appears several gondoliers. Come on, James.
Well, a gondola is the boat, and a gondolier is the person. So the gondolas, the boat appears.
We're not going to argue literature when we're robbing some fucking drugs from a bridge, are we, guys?
And I'm gonna, because are either of you on the carts yet?
No, I'm just stood in the middle of a bunch of dudes. And
yeah, but they're on the cart. They're probably presumably still stood on the carts.
They've got off.
There is a man. Each cart obviously had an armed escort and a driver, and all of the armed escorts at this point are moving off of their carts. There are two that have come up from the rear two carts that are moving towards Aldrich. There was one at the front that he sort of clattered into.
Not quite off the carts yet. They're sort of looking to get down real quick.
The three of them are off the carts. Two of them are currently getting off, and those are the middle two. The ones at the rear are already off and are moving towards Aldrich.
Right. Okay. I was rather hoping I could use an unusual weapon here, but it's not going to work as well because they're all not in the right place. I was rather hoping to catch them all as they were still stood on the top of the carts, going, "What the fuck?" as they'd stood up. I was going to try and catch them with a hand cannon full of grape shot.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a if you can still see people if you look around. Like not looking through the line, but you can still see people that are off the carts.
Yeah, no, I was rather hoping they'd all still be on the driver's seats because the carts have got quite high driving positions, don't they? In general,
they're currently not still
stand behind them with an old school hand cannon and see if we could catch the lot of them with a grape shot.
Unfortunately, that's not possible. So, from where you are at the back cart, what would you like to do?
In that case, I shall start pulling things off the bandolier and start doing things like throwing flashbangs.
Lovely. Which things on the bandolier? Like, tick off a bandolier, and then you've got 3 slots on said bandolier.
Yeah, I do. So the 3 that are near Aldrich, they will get a flashbang.
I'm there. Don't flashbang me.
Again,
yeah.
There are 2 that are nearer to you. There is one up quite far away, literally right next to Aldrich.
Oh, if there's only one next to Aldrich.
Yes.
Oh, I'll just drop it over the side of the cart and duck in the cart real quick.
You're at the back. He's at the front cart. You're about 25, 30 meters away from where Aldrich is.
Obvious then. You said they were off the cart next to me.
I said you were near the rear cart, and he swung into the middle and ran towards the front.
This is where we need him.
You approached the rear cart. When I described Aldrich swinging, he swung into the middle and then ran and impacted with the guy standing near the front cart.
Right.
I didn't make that clearer, but that's where everybody is.
So, is there anybody on the cart with me or near me?
There are 2 people, like if you look around the cart, that are within 5-10 meters of you.
Then they'll get a flashbang.
Okay, they're getting a flashbang, right. So that would be Tinker to be able to produce this item and obviously through it.
Excellent.
Okay, Addison?
4 and a 3.
Yeah, I'm just getting.
I missed you, mate. Sorry, your mic went.
I'm getting emails from, so I was just.
Oh, no worries.
It's all good.
Yeah, that's fine. Make sure you're right. So 4 and a 3. So you've got to the back of the cart. You peek your head around, and you can see these 2 blokes that are there, armed and approaching where Aldrich would be. sort of as he's gesticulating. Oh yeah, hello, gents.
I'll have a
And
very
you-
quick flashback to briefing everybody involved about shouted code words and what they mean. In this case, it's going to be Tin Bird, and that's a flashbang.
Right. Cool.
So shout Tin Bird, skin
what
this
does
thing
Tin Bird
off.
mean?
No,
What does Tin-
flashbang.
Okay. So this is a code word you agreed with Orlan and Aldrich
And
I'm
the druggies
technically-
and the Scotlanders. Yeah.
and everybody. Yeah. So they all brace.
They all know to go.
Everybody who hears this braces for what they know is coming, and you land this flashbang grenade, rolls between the legs of these two men, and goes off. Absolutely blinding flash that you've obviously shielded your eyes from. They have definitely not. So they're shrieking at this point, or rubbing their eyes, trying to stop them from sweating. Like their eyes are watering, obviously, from the flash that's just happened, and they are out of action currently. I'm gonna
Sweaty
start-
eyeballs, terrible thing.
I'm going to
Yes,
produce my second pistol and say the iconic movie words. Any of you fucking pricks move and I'll execute every last motherfucking one of you. And then I
Alright,
just
let's
start
come here.
swinging my pistols around.
Right. So, do you have command?
I've...
Oh.
No.
Please roll command. See if they actually pay attention to you.
You want to everyone devil's bargain me right now, or can I devil's bargain that I'm like everyone is very obviously aware that I'm the only person who's got a gun out right now?
There are armed men around you.
No,
I
I
was
meant
gonna say
all of them only see me who's got a gun out because all the
Right,
rest of
yeah.
my companions haven't got them out yet.
I was gonna say that your devil's bargain is that you forgot to load them beforehand.
You're calling their bluff.
So basically, this whole thing is a fucking bluff. Like you are.
I'll just roll my
Like-
2d6 and take the lowest. I need loaded pistols here. I'll take a 3. 3 to 6. I'll take
3
3.
is okay. So yeah, you start waving your pistol around. Any of you fuckers move, I'll kill every last one of you. The two that are sort of, again, there are two that are stunned now at the back. This is obviously how I'll set the scene again. You've got the guy looking down the line of carts. You've got the two at the back who've just been flashbanged. The Giscard with his head round the cart at the very back of the procession. You've got two that are in the process of kind of stepping down. They do sort of hesitate, and like they're looking at you and they're sort of guarding them. Like what's going on? They're seeing a while. They're from this distance. They're seeing you waving a pistol around. The guy that's next, the two pistols. The guy that's next to you, however, looks at you up and down, and he goes. He's got a musket,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings it to bear at you.
Okay.
Anything you want to do?
As soon as that trigger gets pulled, I need a flashback.
So he brings his musket down at this point, sort of bearing it. He's about 5. He's a sort of
I am
Go on.
unafraid. If he pulls
Flashback.
the trigger, I need a flashback though.
flashback as he pulls the trigger. He's aiming right at you. What do you want?
If you remember in that delightful establishment full of women of the night and courtesans,
Yes.
I've paid them off so that when the mercenaries come in, they're gonna have a lovely time. But all of the powder that comes in on their belts. Oh no, someone spilt wine all over their powder. Oh, don't worry, honey, I'll clean that up. So they forget that the powder's wet, but the powder is wet.
Right.
Because
Give me- give-
me and that courtesan's little conversation.
Right. So in order to get this courtesan on side and to get her to spread the word around, to convince the others of this plan, and obviously knowing the guys that you're talking about, it's going to be a sway. Try and
Can I not have a coin? Can I not just pay them to do my bidding?
you're trying to. They can get coin
Oh,
through
I
their
don't have a
work.
coin.
You need
Right.
to be able to
This
convince
is more coin.
Okay. Yeah, we can sway them.
You just don't want to get shot, do you, Ben?
Well, and you make me roll for everything, so I'm just trying to not because I fuck every
I can
roll.
devil's bargain you here.
What you want to
Go
devil's bargain me with?
So the lead one, the one like you have to sponsor her. Basically, you become like her keeper, even though she's in that brothel. So you have to pay for like all her shit. Like
Sugar
her
daddy.
food.
Nah, I'll
Yeah,
just
you
I'll
can
just
do
I'll
what
just
you're looking
regular
for.
roll for it. I'll just regular roll for it. I get shot. It was worth the...
Fucking hell!
6!
4 and a 6. That is fine. So at this point, he pulls this man. He's aiming at you. He's got a very sinister look in his face. He's like, "This is not going to go well for you." He pulls the trigger. There is a sort of, not the explosion that was expected, but this sort of low sort of. He's like, you start looking at the mechanism, like, what the.
And I just aim both the pistols at him, and I say, "Tell you when you're meant to surrender. Now."
Right. He looks at you at that point, and he's like, and he puts his hands up and steps back, and he sort of looks back at his boys. They're sort of still unsure as what to do, so they're still going to come down holding their muskets and sort of walk towards you to find, not pointing them at you.
So muskets are fucked now. That's fine.
We know that, but they don't. So they're just going to holding them walk towards you. We'll go back to Giscard. What do you want to do currently? So you've flashbanged the 2. You're still at the back of the car, obviously.
Am I like out?
If they're still dazed and whatnot, start hocking boxes over to the gondolas.
Right. So you start grabbing boxes.
Yeah,
And-
I imagine I'd help any Scotlanders could come up and help us so they can pass them down rather than hocking them and throwing them. I'll help them up the bridge and onto the parapet and stuff, so they can be passing and form a train of humans to just.
Yeah. So you go over to the edge of the bridge. You grab this. They hook a rope up and you kind of haul all of them up, and then you join in with this chain of just grabbing these boxes and moving them across. And this sounds like a very forceful action, like you're using quite a lot of force, and you're not really doing it with any kind of control. So I would like you to roll wreck for me, please, Giscard.
Why would we be wrecking it?
You're savage. It's unleashing savage force. The force of you.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. We're only picking up boxes though.
It's the fact that you're like lobbing.
It's to
No, you know how you like, you have like 3 or 4 people, you just kind of like pass a box to them and then put it in something.
Yes, but in order to get that up, you need you're having to lift them up, and then obviously you're trying to do this with some speed.
Okay. 3 and a 5.
Yeah, 5, that would work. So what we'll say is you manage to sort of you sort of go into yourself a bit. You're focused in. You're like, right, this needs to get done. You don't really know how the outcome up at the front's going, so you're like, right. So you go over, you start haul off a few Scotlander muscle men, and you sort of set them up in the chain, and you start beginning of the chain. You start hoiking all these boxes over. So we'll say that you get 12 of the boxes from this. So there were 8 in each cart. At this point you've got 8 from the rear and 4 from the. You've kind of moved on to the second one. You've got 4 from there.
There were 6 carts.
6 carts, 8 boxes per cart.
Cool.
So you've got them. That's how long that's gone. So the other 2 guys that you originally started with the flashbang are sort of starting to come out of it. They're starting to refocus their senses and kind of look around a bit to see what's going on, especially with all the noise. So
in between hopping up and down carts, can we knock them out?
Well, I was about to do that.
Oh, carry on then.
Sorry, apologies for we've neglected you for a while. We'll come back to you.
So I pick my scary weapon, and instead of my kukri dagger, because that's it's a bit more like scary. My weapon of choice today is an Acrozen cricket bat, but like the pegs that Aldrich uses to like moor the boat. So like what he wraps the pegs that he uses. I've hammered the metal ones of them into like the sides of the cricket bat. So basically, like the blunt ends are facing outwards, so it won't like pierce somebody, but it will like doosh. And I basically come round with this cricket bat, like, what do you say in across? 6 doosh. I
Yes.
go yeah, and like
It is sleepy
like,
time. Now you're sleeping.
and basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to knock them into the water. Because I know if I knock them into the water, they'll have to swim and they'll have to work at saving themselves rather than trying to save any of the merchandise.
Right. So you're
I'm
going
willing
to
to
target the
skirmish
2.
with this.
You're going to target the 2 that were obviously attacked from before, that were dazed from before. I believe you've got an ability to target multiple combatants in a single burst, haven't you?
It's technically not to be trifled with. If I push myself, I can perform a feat of physical strength that verges on the superhuman or engage a small gang on equal footing in close combat. So
Yeah,
I'm willing to do that.
So if you want, what I would say is, if you were just doing this normally, you'd probably not be able to hit them into the water. You'd be hitting one into the other and then over the side of the bridge. So in order to achieve that, you would be pushing yourself to try and, because that's a feat of strength that I think is up slightly above the norm. So
would I get the extra dice as well? Because that's 5.
So this is simply with abilities like this you just push yourself to be able to do the thing. You can't get an extra dice from it.
So you don't get
you can either push yourself and take an extra dice, or you can push yourself and be able to use the superhuman strength, basically.
Okay, so I'm going to use my superhuman strength for 4d6 skirmish.
4d6 skirmish, nice.
Oh my. 4, 4, 2, 2.
Yep. So what you do, you've got a success there, obviously. So you take this by 6 and you swing and you hit the first one in the back as he's still sort of coming around from his senses. He gets hit in the back and just goes full hook into the other one. Still both very dazed, so they just travel and they both just tumble over the wall. It's quite a sort of just below waist high, this wall. So as you batter them both in, they're not really, again, like one of them sort of turns and looks at you as he just tips backwards. The slight complication from that is, as you do this, because of the force that you've used, you hear a cracking sound. And looking at your bat, it's got quite a large crack in it. It's probably only good for about one more good hit before it will fail completely.
This is disposable. So I've literally made this like before this.
Also, hearing you talk as well, these other two men that before were walking towards Aldrich will turn and just look at you. Is there anything you want to do for them in that moment?
I think this would be more a rec roll because I'm doing some, unless you would like me to do it skirmish, is I basically I javelin the thing at one of them so it twats them in the face.
Oh no, that is a rec roll, my man.
Am I still under the effects of my stupid human strength?
So you again, if you wanted to do that, you'd have to push yourself again without the D6. So
nah, because I'm
push yourself for an extra D6 if you wish. But
I'm on. I've only got 3 more stress before I traumatized. So I'll take the 6 and the 5 though, DM.
Nice.
Yeah. So you look at you've got it sort of and you spin it at that point. Which way you're holding it, like in the middle?
No, I'm holding it at the handle, so basically I throw it in the air, catch it, and then just at somebody because I'm.
You throw it at this one, one on the right who sort of turned, and again he sort of starts to level his musket at you, sort of to look at, and then as he gets it at the right level, and he just gets impacted in the face by this bat. There is a cracking and a splintering as it just flies apart, but he just falls back, and the other one at that point looks at what happened, looks at you, and dives off the bridge.
Stop fucking about, fearless leader. We have thing to do.
Aldrich just turns around and goes, "Was that my fucking cricket bat?"
You destroy one thing I love, I destroy one thing you love.
He's the last guardsman that currently, he sort of got his hands up there. Like everyone else, so all of the sort of guards were older men. Like the drivers were quite young. They're all just still cowering. Like they not want to get involved with this. But all the guards that were armed, he's the last one. And he's got his hands up and he's like,
"Order the drivers to throw the drugs to our men. On the double," and I'd cock the guns at that point.
"You heard him, boys." He sort of turns to the lads. "Come on!" Starts clapping his hands, and they all do get off and they start heeking. So you've got so many carts. We've got 5 carts, 8 boxes per cart. So you've got about 25 boxes at this point, I'll say, with their help. You start to hear whistles from either side of the bridge, and you've still got this smoke clouds sort of billowing up from the bridge, so you're not hearing it. But these are whistles that you recognise to be blue coats. I'm going to start a progress clock. If you wish, you can stay and try and gather more boxes, or that might cause a quicker response, or you can leave with what you've got now. It's a 4-piece progress clock for blue coat response on the bridge, basically.
I've got an action if you want to stay, because I can do. I've still got gas canisters. I've still got my unusual weapon. Still.
And I've
like,
still got
basically
flashbangs.
and we've still got more
25 out of 40 boxes. So every action you take from here to get more, and obviously if you want to get more and hold back, will be another tick on this clock.
I will throw one of the flashbangs to Orlan and say, "Take that end of the bridge," and I'll hold a hand up for one of the smoke canisters.
I give him one of my spare smoke canisters because I know I've not got unlimited, so I'd say like I had 3 just in case. So I've fired one, give him one, and I've got one left to. And I've checked it, and I know they're all red now, and I'm like, for fuck's sake! like,
Yep. So you've got at this point. So with that action, you're able to sort of progress. You hear the whistle still, but there's no. You can't see anybody currently coming.
Yeah.
There isn't. That is another tick, but you've got 5 more boxes of this.
Cool. I assume we're going to head down to each end of the bridge, and I will direct the gondoliers to carry on doing what they're doing. Boxes, boats, good stuff. Carry on, go down to the other end and await the appearance of anybody.
Yeah, I was going to hold my action until like they arrive, and basically as soon as they arrive, flashbang, smoke canister, like
give them. I'm going to smoke them first, and then when they're confused, flashbang them.
Just a quick question, Giscard. Are you ticking these off as you use them as items on your bandolier?
Yeah. I've got them down.
Everyone you're using, obviously, just make sure you tick it off.
Yeah. This will complete the use of that particular bandolier.
Yeah, good. With the smoke canisters, Aldrich, I'll say you had 3, and they were 3 items in your loadout, but you had heavy as well, didn't you? So.
Yeah. So there were 3 items in my loadout. You said.
Cool. So you go. So you still you still are holding the end of the bridge. Another 5 boxes. You've got 5 more, 35 total. But you can now from both ends of you can see just before you release your last smoke canisters, and you can sort of the view does become obscured again. You can see now that there are both of you can see blue coats approaching. So what you can determine from the distance that they're at is either you can hold out a little bit longer and try and get the remainder of these boxes, but if you do that, you will be leaving and they will be on the bridge.
Well, the whole point of the flashbangs is to stop them.
Yeah, to delay them a little bit. So we'd smoke them out first, and then when they
get close, the time that you're delaying them is allowing you to get more boxes. You're not delaying. They're still moving towards the bridge. If you now want to take the time to gather the remaining 5 by delaying them further, they will be on the bridge while you make your escape.
Yeah, that does make sense, James.
Presumably, the first carriage hasn't been unloaded yet.
No, these are just the 5. Like the first one is way at the other end of the bridge.
I'm gonna whistle for the guys to retreat on the boats. And then I'm gonna need a flashback after they retreat.
Right. So so Aldrich's going to give a signal for, again, from Giscard's earlier flashback. I presume you will have all worked out a sort of withdrawal signal.
It's just a big wolf whistle.
Yeah, big wolf whistle. He sort of, and then at this point, you two start to pull back. So do all the Scovlanders. They start to take what they've got. The drivers are staying in place, but you want a flashback, Ben?
Yeah. I want a flashback when the police actually arrive. These guys are going to get away on the boats.
I was going to say, and can we have the Scovlanders? Can we have the Scovlanders knock out any remaining drivers and guards?
Oh yeah, they'll
on their exit.
So you want a flashback to the future, Ben?
Don't knock them out.
No, when the police arrive, I need a flashback to now. But it would make sense cinematically.
We're going to carry on. So we're all going to withdraw to the boats. So we're going to take the 35 crates that we've got. We're going to withdraw. The Scovlanders are going to do they're going to sort of look at Orlan for approval with their fists raised at the guards. They're looking at Orlan.
No death.
No. Leave them. Everyone on the boats. We don't have time to knock them out. Actually, take these guys, and I throw a few of the drivers over the side.
You grab 2 by the scruff of the neck and push them over the edge. You've got 2 on there. The sort of Scotlanders that have got their fistballs sort of relax their hands, but give them a parting slap as they go, and they go vault over, and then you all sort of move. The boats start to move away. They get a fair distance away. They're probably about 100, 150 yards, and you can start to hear shouts from from voices from the bridge. You're about 100 yards away on the boats because you gave yourself that time, obviously, to get away before they came, but you wanted a flashback at the point when they were on the bridge.
So the flashback is Aldrich's holding the two guns. He sees and he starts hearing the whistles, and he asks the guard to undress. And as the guard's undressing, Aldrich's like picking up his stuff and putting it directly on, grabs one of the drivers, walks to the front car in the train that we've not looted yet, sits the driver down, takes off his hat, puts his pistol underneath his hat, and puts it next to the driver, and then as sort of the bluecoats are coming in and like removing the barricades and stuff, he nudges the guy to drive on, and he just nods and he's like, "Oh, thank you," like as dressed as a guard with the last carriage.
Right. Great effect from this roll, Ben, but it will be.
And I've got the fine cover identity to help with it.
You've got to find cover
Got
identity.
my papers and everything.
Oh,
Yes.
James, no.
James,
way.
what do you want to say?
Didn't you describe that carriage at the front as making horrible braking noises?
The horses were yes, actually, yeah, no, that's a lie.
The
That's
second
unfair.
carriage, then. Whichever carriage has horses on.
Whichever carriage, it will have 5 boxes remaining on it, but the horses will be attached. The one with 8 at the front, like, has no horses anymore. But if you want the remaining 5 from this carriage, you'll be able to get away. So yeah, you ask the guy to strip. He does. He's a bit cold. Fine, whatever. Like, do you knock him out or do you leave him? Like,
I throw him onto our boat, so there's not
You throw
someone
him
there like to be like, he stole my clothes.
you push a naked man off onto the boat along with a couple of drivers. He lands on one of them. It's a bit of a muffled shriek from beneath. And then, you get up onto the boat with the last guy is sort of like, he's looking at you and shaking. You kind of very visibly sort of take your pistol and then you put your hat down and you sort of, so I guess you kind of look deceitfully behind you, like you've been sort of shrugging. You've been hiding from the action, basically, as if you're saying. And then, I'm going to say... trying to think. Tell me, I want this to be an action roll. You tell me what action it'll be.
I'm going to have to sway the guards to let us through. I'm going to be like, quick, before they come back! Quick, we need to go, otherwise we'll all die.
Yep, so the bluecoats will rush on from behind you and in front of you at this point. They'll sort of question who you are. You'll flash at them some papers, some official papers.
Fine cover identity.
Or the convoy for the lab. And, then you'll ask them to sort of quickly remove the barriers. Just give me a quick sway roll.
This is how I end up arrested, isn't it?
You're going to the fucking clink, mate. You're going to the.
Anyone want a devil's bargain me, real quick? I'm thinking
devil's bargain. If this succeeds and you do leave, one of the bluecoats recognizes you as you move off.
Or you present them with some papers for a dimmer sister's business.
Or can I have a final one? I've given them a stack of papers, right? On the last paper, so it's like a massive cover identity with like a bunch of stuff on it. On the last piece of paper is like, so as I'm riding away, after they've like figured out like everyone's left and we've left, they'll turn over to the last page and it's a big painted red herring.
Yes, do it. Extra D6 for that sway roll.
They are just going to arrest you, Lotto.
What? The thing is, I'm going to get arrested because I'm the ginger one.
That is 6. So you thrust this big wad of paper.
That's because you're out of town.
It's an identity and it's your like transit notes.
Yeah.
You've been able to take from it's all that he's looking through it and he's like, you're sort of like, come on, there's no time. We need to get through these. So he's like, yes, all right. He's waving at his men as he's still flicking through the papers and they go along. They take as a unit. They kind of lift up this thing. They're all glaring at the mechanism. It's not like really anything they've seen before. They sort of shake it up, and one of them waves, ushering you through, and you give the driver a look, and he sort of flicks the reins, and the horse moves off. And then as the sergeant that you give the papers to, he looks up at you, sees you're moving. He gets to the back, and he sees this, like, what? And his eyes go wide. He realizes where he's seen this before and where he's heard about this symbology before. But as he looks up, all the smoke and the units and the chaos from his own unit from before, he can't see the cart anymore. And that is our score for stealing that. So we'll say and not as downtime, but obviously from there, I'll ask you where you go. So you've got you guys on the boats with 35 of the crates, and you're on the carts with 5 more.
Oh, clearly the boats are going to go back to the boatyard that nearly got blown up last week. And,
We talked about the Gondoliers, yep.
use it as a hiding place for these crates.
I kick the guy off like maybe 10 streets away, and then just drive it like back to the Gondoliers' place.
Okay, so yeah, you
I
take.
would say that's where we're gonna make this deal with your mate anyway. This is a perfect place. They can get it out. They can hire a boat to get it out. It's probably the best place to actually do this deal.
Right. So you guys take it all back to the Gondoliers. Yep. So you take it all. You meet up with the boats. Aldrich takes you a little bit longer, but you arrive there, and you guys end up stacking all of these crates up high. You take one, and you open it, and there's nothing inside. I'm joking.
Son of a bitch.
So yeah, you.
Hey, we didn't kill anybody. It's fine, right?
No, so yeah, you have all these crates, and you open it, and they have these small vials inside. Each crate they're quite sort of loosely packed. There's only 5 vials per crate. They're sort of small, not massive crates like you think. They're quite small, but they've got 5 vials, all sort of separated by springs that sort of move freely. Obviously, per crate, somebody else do the maths on that. I think it's about 200 vials.
Sorry,
They're like in springs. So like the springs.
So they don't clatter together.
right.
They haven't just used like hay, for instance. They were like springs. That's the one.
Hey, pack density
One
enough.
thing is padding the vials. There's 5 vials per box, and something is padding them so they don't break.
This is actually a way of how they used to store like dangerous chemical stuff. They used to like.
But anyway, thank you for that verification, Addison.
Like,
But
used to use
yeah,
hay.
you head up to. You stacked all of these boxes. Veldrin is sort of comes in and he's like, "Yes, for research." He's very, very excited. His eyes go wide. He starts to tremble quite a lot, and then he sort of tries to suppress it, puts it down, and he's like, "Research materials. Thank you."
I'll give him only 1 box.
This is a good start. There's something, obviously he's agitated. He's very agitated. I said I'd pay you for it, and they will.
Did. No. I'll take the box away from him. You have to pay us before you get any.
Fine. He hands you the equivalent of 10 coin. Dumps a sack down in front of you. Went through a lot of. I went through a lot of. He almost starts to say the word homes, but you're like, I went through a lot to get that.
And I'll ask him, what is this? What is it called? What effect does it have?
Research materials. Paid
GM,
you.
Can I ask a question? So I take a concoction sometimes, like to help enhance my abilities, and it makes me very angry.
You're asking if it's berserker juice.
Similar, yeah. Is it? Am I about to give this motherfucker like tons of rage fire essence?
This is like you can take. Well, at that point, you can take out your little vial that you normally carry of rage essence. These 2 liquids, they're similar vials, but the color is very distinctly different.
Okay, so one's like deep anger red, and this one like blue, like bliss.
This one's like a sort of pale yellow, almost like a urine like look.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's handing his arms out. I paid you, didn't I?
Yes, you have, but before you go anywhere with it, I want to know what effect it has on you.
Fine, you want to give it here and I'll show you.
As in you're going to take some?
See someone tweak, like, in front
He's holding his arms out still, shaking his hands quite vigorously.
Aldrich, who's been sat on a chair, just like leans forward.
I will take one of the vials out and take a small amount and dose him with it, however it's meant to be administered, be needle or be mouth or
It
whatever.
would be, he would take the vial from you at that point and sip it. Not down the whole thing, but he would sip it and he would go sort of very calm. You'll notice that he starts to sweat a bit, and he sort of
Knowing
the
vaguely
shape.
what Rage Essence does, I will subtly hand inside the coat, ready to pull a gun if needs be.
Yeah, no. So he sort of like his tremors stop completely. Like even before when he was like suppressing them, like they do stop completely, and his face just sort of relaxes, and it's like he doesn't. It's not like a sort of high where he like collapses, but he just starts looking at his hands and looking, and like he's got a sense of calm on his face rather than like sort of euphoria. It's just sort of calm. And then after a few minutes, the tremors return. He's like, "Oh, well, maybe if I take a bit more of that, it would have a different effect. And that's the effect it has on me. So more."
I say, I take that, take the vial and say, what other effect would it have if you took more?
Mate, I've tried every fucking thing under the sun. If you want to know what it does to a regular bloke and what they wanted to use it for, feed it to a normal pub.
Is that you holding the vial?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aldrich will just come along, like, pluck it, pop the cork off, grab the guy, and just pour it down his throat.
Okay.
Oh, that'll happen. I'm not even going to make you roll for that. That happens. And
then as he's doing it, he turns to Gizgard and he's like, write this down, then it's science. And then I just smash the bottle against the wall and push the guy off.
At that point, when he sipped it, it was a calm effect. Then he just collapses onto the floor and he starts fitting. But then after a while, it sort of subsides. And again, he just sort of remains with this sort of look on his face, and he's not moving.
You would all see that Orlan is visibly uncomfortable looking at, like, he is visibly like. You even see him like turn his back when he starts convulsing. He turns his back, and you hear him kind of like trying to not heave.
Yeah.
I turn to Gizgard
I'll
and
get
like,
the notepad out.
The Scotlanders at this point go over to Orlan, the Scotlander group that are there, and they say, May we talk to you briefly?
Quickly, I just turned to Gizgard and I was like, I was expecting him to like set on fire. Also, this is shit.
I go with the Scotlanders, but I am speaking in Scotland. Like I'm not speaking in
Nakaros.
Yeah.
So I believe that we can use this for our people. I am not talking about administering it. I am talking about another source of income to help our cause. I do not think you have the means to move all of this product, but I believe that we do. I think that for a price, a lump sum, we could take this from your hands. You keep 5 of the boxes for yourself to sell, and we take the rest, and we can make it clean money for you. And it will bring us income that we can help our people with as well. What do you say? For the cause, brother.
Shit. I assume you have spoken about this to Mama.
She has ears in more places than you might wish to know. She knew of your plans. And as a small token of your continued duty, and to make up for the travesty that she believes was your previous endeavor, she would like to take the responsibility of handling the merchandise from now on. You will be allowed to keep some to do with as you wish. You may use it, or you may sell it. We will take some. We will use the proceeds to help our people, see if there are any applications we can make for its use, for the good of our people. And any money that we make, you will receive a percentage of. But she wants to handle this. She does not want to leave it in your hands. Will you accept those terms?
Da. Yeah.
Very good.
Just not the
She will be
children.
most pleased.
Children are out of bounds.
Of course. Any use for this that is not medicinal was not meaningless to us. We thank you. She sends her regards. She wishes to see you again at your next convenience. And she hopes that she has not offended you too much. She knows that you have an honor to uphold also.
Load it onto the gondolas. I will speak to Audrey.
Thank you. So to streamline that a bit, guys,
When
obviously...
you're returning, Aldrich and Gizgard are talking street price.
You get, so is that, presumably, Orlan will relay what's been said to you? Do you? Roughly, not, obviously not
We don't
everything.
know about your
No,
mother,
exactly how do you phrase it? Because it's going to be important.
I say, the Scotlanders are going to move it for us. They have someone who can help with connections.
The fuck
And
do you
we'll
mean the
take a-
Scotlanders are going to move it for us? We just give them pricks jobs and they're going to try and rob us.
They're not trying to
That
rob
does
you.
sound like we're being strong-armed out of what we've just taken. No. We'll move the stuff.
I don't think you understand, friend. You don't have a choice in this. You will do as you're told for once, and then you will be grateful in the fact that I have guaranteed us not only a supply chain, money, what you want, a supply chain what you want for materials, and whatever else, and you will stop fucking bitching at me every time you do something.
I'm sorry. This and the fancy clothes, you've got some explaining to do. There's more to you than meets the eye.
There
And
is more.
at this point, you see me standing here with a pistol.
Put your fucking gun away. You mutinied
No,
last
it's not
week.
like I'm waving it around. It's just down by the side.
Yeah, Aldrich still go. Put your fucking gun away. You mutinied last week, right? I kind of look at you all and I'm like, we're having a meeting, all right? We're having a fucking meeting. Where the fuck is Silas? Because I'm done with this secret shit. First he disappears up the fucking graveyard. Yes, I know he went up the fucking graveyard. Now you're talking about the Scotland fucking mafia. You in with the Scotland fucking mafia? Is that why you got fancy clothes, boy? And he walks up and he pokes you at that point. I knew you weren't a soldier. You're a fucking mafioso, ain't you?
My name, and you will know this, and you will know exactly who this is Piotr Orlan Welka Skovlandovich, Prince of Skovlander, second of his name, and you will unfucking touch me and back off before I take you and I show you what I did during the war as a soldier on the front line. And yes, I don't.
Can you prove this royal heritage? I'm fed up of this crew. Fuck it. Right. He thinks he's a prince now, so clearly he's taken Sam. What about you? You think he's a fucking prince as well? Who else is royalty?
I can't prove it. You
Wait. Streetwise, I would know about the massive Scotland refugee camp, right? Because I'm from Akaros. We kind of know these things if there's big slums.
You'd know
right?
about you'd know about the influx of the immigrants during and especially recently because the war ended.
That big camp. I have it on good authority that certain monarchs hiding there. We'll have a talk with her. She can confirm this shit.
douche. Like you don't even finish, and like you're over the edge of the water. Like
And you have a gun to the back of your head too. Put
My
it
head.
down.
This
No,
has
no,
been a great campaign,
Orlan's
guys.
head.
As he's grabbing me, I'm like, you do know I can swim, right?
Oh,
We need to have a talk.
Yeah. Put him down
Shall we wrap this up, boys?
gently.
Yes, I would like it to end there. I think that's quite
Let's
a
wrap
fun
this
way to
up,
end.
boys. Thanks for that. That was fun. Oh, I'm happy. I'm well, I think.
I think that's a good revelatory ending. That.
That is a good ending for the stream, guys. What we're going to do differently from now on, that's been discussed, is we're going to do downtime off stream, and then I will do a summary of downtime over on my YouTube channel for anyone who does want to see that. Obviously, just because of the time constraints and the different phases of play, we think it would just be easier for all of us. So I think we're going to end it there for the week, and I will hand it back for outros to host.
Excellent. We hope you all had a good time watching Blazing Dark Red Herrings episode 7. 7? We will do plugs, and the first plug we will do is wait, no, the stream overlay's changed. Directly underneath me, James. Yours is the quickest to go.
I hide on the Loom Discord server where we play TTRPGs. Come find us over there.
Excellent. A delightful game master, Jordan. Do your plugs.
Yes, I'm plugging this week my YouTube channel, Uninformed RPG on YouTube, where I give my tips and advice for newer players. I'm also going to be starting up doing our downtime summaries on there. That's going to be a regular show. We've not got that many episodes left, but because of obviously the streamlined nature that we're going to try and go for now on, every week I'm going to do a little bit of a summary of downtime of what we end up doing in terms of payoff and like everyone downtime activities. So catch that there at Sunday, and that will be on Uninformed RPG on YouTube.
Wait, let me... This way. Addison! He's down, and this way. Addison, do your plugs.
So, my name's Addison. I help run the Loom. I run the Loom with Ben, and I am formerly of part of the thing. More news on. We'll let you know about that. So, hopefully, you'll see me somewhere else.
We'll meet again.
Yeah.
Don't know when. Right, finally, you can catch us here over on twitch.tv/theflickeringtorch at 7:30 British Standard Time to watch us live playing Blazing Dark Red Herrings if you're watching in the next 3 weeks. Otherwise, we'll be playing something else. You can watch the VODs on the Flickering Torch YouTube channel, as well as a new video that's less long and more edited every Thursday. I'm the Flickering Torch. You can follow me at the Flickering Torch on Twitter. That's all my plugs, I believe. I don't have any more accounts to plug. So, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Say goodbye, everyone.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Peace.